Hello everyone, welcome to CSC Core Concepts in the series of Machine Learning Algorithms. In this video, I am going to discuss about a very popular machine learning algorithm called as support vector machines. Now, vector machines are a supervised approach, that is, it solves classification and regression problems. Like your random forest, which was used to solve both types of classification and regression problems, SVM also supports both of them, that is classification as well as regression. So what we basically do here is that first we have a labeled data which is given. Since it is a supervised approach, that means the classes are already decided priori. So we are giving a mixed type of labeled data to build the model, that is a training data. Now this model enters the testing phase. That is, we have built up our data, our model, and now we are entering the for training. In training, the prediction is based on the testing data, new data, or the test data, right? And you add some new data and you get the output. So in the output, basically what we get is that we determine the class of the test data. This is what is done in the supervised approach, which is same for all the cases. Now, here let us consider two classes. We have a two-dimensional plane x and y. Some of the data points belong to class 1 and some of the data points belong to class 2. So these two set of class 1 and class 2 are separated by a boundary. We call this boundary as the decision boundary, or it is also called as a hyperplane. Now if you consider this case, same case which I was discussing, that you have two classes and you have one hyperplane dividing the data into two classes. Now, how to find out the marginal distance? Here in SVM we have something called as a marginal distance. The marginal distance is the distance between the two classes. How much is the gap between the two classes which is separating both of them? Now, how to find out the marginal distance? Now, find the nearest point to the opponent class. Okay, so suppose you are considering the opponent class. Okay, so let us say, for example, let me just show you. Okay, let us say, for example, this is the point which is closest to this hyperplane. Understood? And for class 2, this is the point which is closest to the hyperplane. So we are going to draw lines which are touching these opposite classes. So this line is touching the point which is closest to the hyperplane, and this point similarly for class 2 also we are going to draw a line which is touching the point and it is closest to the hyperplane. Now this distance, that is the distance between class 1 and the hyperplane, is, let's say, the distance d minus, and the distance between the class 2 and the hyperplane is the distance d plus. Okay. So this total distance, that is the d minus and d plus, this is called as the margin. That how much margin I am keeping to separate the two classes. Understood? So this is the margin should be as bigger as possible so that the model is a more generalized or a simplified model. So the chances of errors are less. If they are keeping the margin very less, then the model may get confused and may predict wrong results for the test data. So this is the marginal distance. Now the points which we have considered to draw the margin, that is this point which was closest in class 1, this point which was closest in case of class 2, these two points are called as support vectors. Okay, they are supporting, these are the points which are supporting for creating the marginal distance. Understood? So this marginal distance is nothing, it provides us a cushion or a gap, okay, to separate the classes, right? So there is sum of the distance, the two distances is the marginal distance. It helps in deciding the existence of the hyperplane, and the points are called as the support vectors. Now hyperplanes can be of any type. Now how will you select a particular hyperplane? Let's say this is one hyperplane. Okay, this line is also dividing both the classes, class 1 and class 2. If I am drawing this line, it is also dividing your class 1 and class 2. This black line is also dividing your class 1 and class 2. Now, how are you going to decide that which hyperplane we are going to select? So, majorly the aim of SVM is to select an optimal hyperplane which will give me a more generalized model. That is, more cushioning where I will get, that I will create, that hyperplane I will select. Okay, so any data set which falls on the marginal distance, it will be easy to evaluate with its class it will belong to. Let's say, for example, this is two data sets. The black one is the hyperplane. The blue and red lines are the planes which are touching the support vectors. So such data which you can divide easily is called as a linearly separable data. Okay, so linear support vector machine can applied only to linearly separable data. Now let us consider the two margins. Okay, as we were considering that which hyperplane should we select. Let's say in the first case you can see this black line is the hyperplane and these blue and red lines are the lines touching the support vectors. So how much is the marginal distance? This m1 is the marginal distance which we have computed. The same set of data is here. Okay, and but if I am keeping the separate hyperplane, if I am making the hyperplane like this, okay, so you can see the value of m2 which I am getting is higher. That means what I am, if I am considering the hyperplane in this direction, then I am getting more cushioning. Okay, more gap I am keeping between class 1 and class 2. So the model is going to be very, very generalized. But here it might happen that if a data point is here, okay, in this case, right, it may go to this case also, it may go to this case. If the model is not trained properly, then wrong class predictions may occur. Okay, so the margin should have the maximum width possible. So you can get 3-4 types of hyperplanes. So the one which we are going to select, which should have the maximum width. So we are going to select this M2 hyperplane in this case. Okay, so the quality of the hyperplane should have the property that is called as MMH. MMH stands for maximal margin hyperplane. Okay, so misclassification and error rate will be less in case of a hyperplane with having the maximum margin. And when you have a less rate of misclassification error, then obviously you will get a higher accuracy. So in this case, it is very clear if the data point is here, it will go to this class instead of going to this class. But here, if the data point is somewhere around, and since the distance between both the support vector lines is very less, it may go to any one of the classes, which may be wrong, hence getting a wrong classified data. Now, as I told you that here in this case, what happens is that this is a linearly separable data. Okay, simply you can draw one line and easily all points are on the same point and all points here are on the same side. Okay, so it is very easy for a linearly separable data. But in case of a non-linearly separable data, let's say your data is looking something like this. Okay, so this is one class, okay, and rest of the points are separate class. Now if you are deciding if this is your hyperplane, then you can see some of the points of class 2 are coming here, some of the points of class 1 are coming here. This happens because this data is not linearly separable. So obviously in this case, if you are drawing a linear linear hyperplane, you will get accuracy less than 50%, because you can see many of the data points will be misclassified. Okay, so there will be misclassification. So when your linear hyperplane is used to classify a non-linearly separable data, then you will get a higher rate of misclassification, hence reducing the accuracy. So in order to solve this problem of non-linearly separable data, we can have something called as SVM kernels. Okay, so they are low dimension, where in this case what happens, the low dimension is converted to a higher dimension. So instead of having a 2D hyperplane, now we are going to consider a 3-dimensional hyperplane which is going to separate it. So this something looks like a 3-dimensional hyperplane, right? So there are various types of kernels. Okay, if you are using SVM kernel to separate non-linearly separable data, so we can have various types of kernel. Like linear, we have discussed, they are simpler. Polynomial kernel, Gaussian, or they are also popularly called as radial basis kernel, and sigmoid kernels. Right. Now, how to choose which kernel you are going to select, right? So that depends first of all on the nature of the data. What type of data you have, hyperparameter tuning, what you have done, which is the hyperparameter here? That hyperplane boundary or the decision boundary is your hyperparameter. So you have to keep your decision boundary in such a way that you get a maximum cushion here. So the maximum cushion you get, the less errors you get, and higher is the accuracy. So obviously it depends on the hyperparameter tuning and of course on the computational complexity. So in case of a linear kernel, the computational requirements are very less. But if you have a polynomial, so in every step you have to go through a polynomial equation. You have to compute a polynomial equation or a Gaussian equation or a sigmoid equation. Okay. So these equation increase the computational complexity, right? So where are you going to use? Let's say, for example, if your data is a finance data or a credit scoring or a fraud detection, the data is very clear, right? That if these are the parameters, he is a fraud. If these are not the parameters, he is not a fraud. So the classes are very, very clearly separable. Understood? Either you belong to class A or you belong to class B. But suppose if you have a image data, right, where you have to identify certain objects or certain patterns, right? Now, in this case, the image data may not be linearly separable, that sky is ending, water is ending. You can have any type of image data. Understood? So, it is not linearly separable. There you can go for a polynomial type of a kernel. Then in biology, suppose if you have a data about predict the protein structure and analyze the gene data. Understood? This type of data sets are generally used in the machine learning algorithms. So you have genetics data and protein structures you want to predict and all this type of work you are doing. Okay, so in this case you can go for a Gaussian or a radial basis kernel. Then if you have a customer, whether you want to find out whether he is going to stop using a service where the transition is there. Okay, for any customer, if you have a transitional data, like earlier he was using, now he is inactive, so you can go for a sigmoid data. Sigmoid, I hope you remember earlier I have discussed it in logistic regression specifically, where the formula is 1 by 1 plus e raised to the power, uh, you complete it because you have heard my earlier video. So this work I am giving you. Where E is the Euler's constant. I hope you remember, right? So just go through the sigmoid function in the logistic regression and you can complete the equation. So there you can understand using that sigmoid curve that when you are going from a transition from active to inactive state, or suppose if you have classifying the disease severity. Okay, so everyone, say 50 data sets you have, everyone is COVID positive. Now if you want to have a transition, if you want to separate the COVID positive patients based on their severity, who is at the highest danger state, who is at the lower risk state. Okay, and when the patient is at a higher risk and slowly he is transiting from higher risk to lower risk state. Okay, so that type of a transitional data if you have, then you have to go for some sigmoid kernels. Okay, so these are some of the examples, and of course I am going to demonstrate SVM kernels in RStudio. So there we will find out how the results also change based on the different types of kernel. There we might have a simple data set on which I will try to demonstrate you the separate different kernels, but it might not be required. Okay, so you have to identify very nicely that which kernel will be applicable, because your data set is going to be huge in actual, right? You can have 1 million data. Now on 1 million data, if you are just unnecessarily applying a polynomial kernel, then there the computational complexity will go very high. So these all parameters also you have to keep in mind while choosing the kernel. Okay, because the computational complexity, if it increases, the time to execute, the overall time to execute the algorithm also increases. Unnecessarily, it is a load on your CPU or GPU, whichever you are using. Understood? So it is very important to understand the type of the data, and based on that data to determine what type of kernels we are supposed to use. Okay, so but as I told you that SVM applies to both classification as well as regression problem. So in this case, if I am having a regression problem, regression type of a data, okay, then they are called as, it is called as SVR, support vector regression. Okay, so in my next video, I am going to demonstrate you about the SVM and SVR kernels in RStudio. So more such informative videos, please do like, share and subscribe to CSE Core Concepts for your complete preparation in machine learning and computer science. Thank you.